We are on YouTube, and I guess I should put in my nice pink earplugs or earphones or whatever the heck. Not earphones. Yes. Well, that's when the others fail, and that's the only ones you got to rock and roll with it. Uh, Especially the only thing is, you could definitely hang yourself with these things because the cord is about 4 or 5 inches long. So that will be rock and rolling today on a Fast Friday cruising in. I wanted to tell you, the camera we now got is the close-up shot. Now it's working fine, but yesterday it was going. And what I did was I pushed in. If I pushed in hard on the power cord. That funky slide guitar music that comes on every Monday through Friday on Newswire on Facebook and YouTube. And I don't know if you put it on there, but we've been doing Twitter. You did Twitter too? Dang, you're on it. Stephanie will join us a little bit later for a segment on that, and we'll look on that. Lots of good things. Obviously, the big news enchilada going on yesterday or last night, and we covered it live on Newswire and ran the whole second presidential debate, Donald J. Trump versus the crook Biden. I've never heard so dang many lies in my frickin' life coming out of Joe Biden. Between the, I mean, it isn't proven yet. But I mean, if either Tony Bobulinski is lying through his teeth or Joe Biden is. I mean, he flat out said Biden was there at the meetings. The money was going the money going to H to be held by H was Hunter, and the big guy is Joe Biden. Now, who else would it be in the Biden crime family? I mean, they are so corrupt. And it's just not Joe Biden. I mean, 98.7% of all of Washington, D.C. is totally corrupt. I wish Trump would bring back the swamp, because that was probably one of the most effective deals. Drain the swamp. We heard that throughout the campaign in 2016 and 17 and 18, or when he got elected, we need to drain the swamp. And it was Congressman Ken Buck of Colorado. I think it might have been Mark Meadows, which is now chief of staff for Trump. But it was few of the Freedom Caucus members, and I can't remember the guy's name. We ran his videos, and we actually had him on the show, that did the interview with the I think it was 4 or 5 congressmen of that, about the swamp, and they explained how all that stuff worked. And basically, and I think it was Congressman Ken Buck, who said, flat out, they walked him right in the room and said, if you don't vote like we want you to vote, your district will not only get nothing, we'll take stuff away from it. Your office will be down on the, sitting under the stoplight at the intersection of Pennsylvania Avenue and whatever down there. You ain't getting nothing. This is how the game is played. This is how Joe Biden becomes a multi-millionaire, making $15 million just a year, just giving speeches after he got out of office as vice president, and all that. They're all in their line in their pockets somehow, some way. And let's cut to the chase, Joe Biden. You should, if you did not take anything, you should equivocally say, I did not profit one bit. You should have said that at the debate. And you still should come out and say it yourself. We do not need Bill Clinton-esque, Monica Lewinsky, I did not have sexual relations with that woman, which he was trying to argue, I guess, sexual relations meant having sex between a man and a woman in the missionary position, yada, yada, yada. That sexual relations did not constitute getting a blowjob underneath the desk in the Oval Office. He was parsing words of that, and Joe Biden stepping around that. Well, yeah, I never took any money or that or da 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 da. Well, yeah, Hunter Biden had that. What about that email that Hunter Biden sent to his daughter? I think it was. I'm not going to take 50% of this like Pop did. Well, who the hell Pop is? Who is Pop? Joe Biden. The strong evidence. The overwhelming evidence, he's been crooking America for 47 years as a politician. Like I said, and I've said it, but I mean, I learned this. I didn't make it up. They said, your lawyers that are not good in the lawyer industry are not worth a crap. They become politicians. Joe Biden is a lawyer. At 29, he got elected to the Senate. The guy is corrupt trash. And he's part of the problem. He's one, and not necessarily faulting Joe Biden, because they're practically 98.7% of them are doing it. There's a few like Ken Buck, probably Mark Meadows, Tom McClintock from California, who has not amassed a multi-million-dollar fortune while in political office. But those are the rare exceptions. What is it, 12 days or so? Count the days, Jesse, for till November 3rd. See, tell me exactly till the election day, November 3rd. I know it's got to be less than 2 weeks now. 11 days. The master number. Did you know that? Yeah. What's the next master number? 22. What's the next master number? You got it. You hit the pattern. No. It's 11 days till, well, traditionally, the last votes were counted. With this election fraud going on, and we'll get into this next week. This is in California with this so-called mail-in ballot coming up. One person, 2 ballots. Dead people, dogs, people that haven't lived here, people who've died for 30 years, and people who have repeatedly told the voter registration's office, the person is dead. Here is the death certificate. Please take them off the rolls. For 10, 20, 30 years, and they are now getting sent these mail-in ballots. People are getting ballots of people that haven't lived in the house in maybe 20 years, because they said, we've been here 20 years, we don't even know who these people are. They're getting mail-in ballots for, they might have lived there 40 years ago, who knows. I will say this, and the head pollster, telegrapher, or whatever, I'm butchering the name of that, but he was on, I was listening to him, and he said, Trump probably wins Pennsylvania by 3 points. But he said if there's an area that's as bad or maybe even worse than Cook County or Cook County, Illinois, the Chicago area, it's the Philadelphia, Pennsylvania area. And he said, in an honest election right now, he's saying Trump probably wins Pennsylvania by 3 points. He said that's one state they might fraud him out of it. Because the judge in Philadelphia or Pennsylvania somewhere ruled, and get this, Jesse, pay attention, ruled that ballots can be counted even if they don't have a postmark on them.
Not even postmark? Wait, that don't make no sense.
You heard that. Does that make sense to you?
No.
They ruled that. That's what he said. He said, he said if there's one place that election fraud is ripe, it's Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He said in Pennsylvania because judges ruled as of right now, unless it gets appealed or overruled, if the ballot comes in on November 15th, we'll count that. We don't, no postmark, nothing. How many ballots, if Joe Biden is behind in Pennsylvania, let's say November 3rd, let's say all the vote, we're getting to November 4th, let's say November 5th, we wake up, Trump's still winning Pennsylvania by 50,000 votes. In a state like Pennsylvania, look up the population of Pennsylvania. So you say about 70% of the people are probably registered. We'll take a rough stab at it. But I'm saying Pennsylvania, what, 5, 6, 7, maybe 10 million of that population? It's a pretty big state. 12.7. So they probably got 8 million registered voters. How much do you want to bet? If it's probably 50,000 or less by November 5th, somehow there's going to be boxes of ballots that show up. Probably they're all marked for Joe Biden, and they're probably going to total 50,000 plus one. We're in for, and if that's one of the states Trump won, Pennsylvania. This is what the guy from Telegrapher, or whatever the heck his name is, he said Ohio's done. Trump's got that in the bag. He said they're watching close Florida, North Carolina, and that, but he said they're pretty, he said they're trending, and he says he's pretty sure they're going to go Trump. But he had five states: Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Minnesota, and Nevada. Minnesota and Nevada, Hillary Clinton won in 2016. Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, all were run by Trump. He said it probably looks like, and it's trending, Michigan looks like it's going to go Trump's way. He said probably Wisconsin. Pennsylvania's flaky on. As we discussed a little bit yesterday with Cliff Cummings on that, he went and he had Nevada, and Cliff is, I think, building a home up there, but and frequents a lot the Nevada area up there. And he said, yeah, lots of labor unions and that, and he made the point, but we didn't have time to expand on it. But Jesse, Micah, what is the big industry in Nevada?
Gambling?
Yes. About 70% of the population in Nevada, which is about 4 million, but about 70% of it lives in the greater Las Vegas area. That county, Clark County. Clark County is the Vegas area. 70% of the population of Nevada lives in that one small area right there. Most of Nevada is, have you ever driven out the 10 freeway or whatever going out towards Blythe or something, and you get out there past Indio going to Blythe and there's just nothing but desert?
Yeah.
That's about what 98% of the state of Nevada is. You've got the Reno, Carson City area, Lake Tahoe, and you've got Las Vegas. That is your that's the three places where there's any population. Everywhere else, the population is probably in 3 or very low-digit 4 numbers. In any little Ely, Nevada, or wherever you're out in the hinterlands out there of that, there's just nothing. But the labor unions are getting pissed because they've had 6 months of starving to death because there is very little or no gambling going on and all the stuff going on in Las Vegas, and they're starting to get a little upset at Joe Biden. So he said Nevada may flip. He said because he needs that one. Basically, the way he was working it was he's got to have one. If gets one of Michigan or Pennsylvania or any combination to Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Nevada, Trump's going to win. So despite all the polls and everything, it looks like Trump's going to win. We're going to do another interesting topic. Stephanie's going to join us here on this one, so let the videotape roll, Jesse. There's probably been no more greater subject in this past 6 months so than the whole schools remote learning fiasco, da-da-da-da-da. Now, this one has kind of a connotation, and we'll see where it goes. But a story in Chicago, this is KHOU 11, has posted this. And yeah, go ahead and bring up number 4, please. Chicago man accused of sexually assaulting 12-year-old girl as classmates watched during remote learning. The teacher also saw what was happening just as the suspect closed the victim's laptop, prosecutors said. This is by Doug Denning. From that, this is Chicago. An 18-year-old man who had been arrested and charged after he allegedly was caught on video sexually assaulting a little girl, all while the victim's classmates and teacher watched in horror, reported CBS Chicago. What's his name? Catrell Walls, 18, is charged with predator criminal sexual assault. Chicago police online records show.
This is so disturbing, but like I said before too, what if this is where it's almost a blessing that parents and students are at home, because now teachers and admin are seeing what's inside these homes that's really been going on all these years? I mean, that's horrible. That's heartbreaking. How many more houses are like that?
It definitely is. We'll read a little bit more report, and I'll comment on that. CBS reported the incident occurred Thursday afternoon, and he was arrested and appeared in court over the weekend. Cook County State Attorney's Office stated the crime occurred in a home but was witnessed by others accidentally over Google Meet's classroom session. The victim's teacher said during lunch and independent study period, students are allowed to sign off on their virtual learning session or stay logged on, but with their cameras and microphones off. But in this case, a 7-year-old girl accidentally forgot to turn off her camera. Prosecutors said 4 students were still signed on and witnessed the assault, asking what was happening. That's when the teacher also noticed the assault and told everyone to sign off. CBS reported the teacher saw the suspect picked up the girl's computer and closed it. She reported the incident to the school's principal, and school officials notified the family and authorities. The girl later reportedly told investigators that it was not the first time that she was assaulted. The suspect remains in jail without bond after appearing in court over the weekend. He was also arrested in August on a weapons charge, Chicago police records show. Now, in this case, good thing, I agree with you, at least he was, caught if he allegedly did this, of this alleged crime going on, but he was caught. But the greater thing has been, and this has been the argument that a lot have made about the disadvantage of closing schools, while this guy appears to have been caught, committing a heinous crime, I should say.
Right.
This is what I have heard the argument said. Since kids are not in class, they're at home all the time, they are never away from their home environment, they don't have the opportunity, or in a school setting or something, or go to a principal or a counselor, or
right,
what's going wrong of that, because they're in the environment where they would be getting assaulted in I think, and I'm no medical doctor or psychologist, but usually most of these assaults are by a family member or somebody
right,
close to the family that's doing these things. So they're never away from that situation, so they don't have the opportunity. They said, and I've seen it argued more with this distance learning, that a lot of this is going on, especially since the COVID school shutdown thing, because the kids do not have an avenue, or very limited avenue, where they're away from somebody or where they can tell somebody, because they're at home all the time.
right. No, I agree with you on that too, where you're coming from, but I think also for the victims that are there, I think there's a light that's being shined that might not have been shined down going to school? What if she would have never spoke up at school?
That's
There's no way
right.
that teachers or anyone would know that there's something going on. So I think there's a blessing in that. And I see your point. A lot of kids are hungrier now and, getting abused more and things like that. But how horrible.
Yes, it is. It's the consequences.
How old was he?
Huh?
How old was this?
7.
No, not the.
18. The alleged perpetrator is 18 years old.
Shame on you.
Let's roll it. Here's a picture. There's the booking photo of the assault in Cottrell Walls, 18. I'm assuming, or is from Chicago. The reports out of that, so I'm assuming it's from the Chicago area of that. But
based off the photo and his facial expression, you can tell he looks guilty as hell. Am I allowed to? I mean, I'm not trying to judge, but I mean, I'm going to judge.
Well,
he looks guilty as hell.
And it is, and it would be, a whole,
even to be classified, even if it isn't true and it is alleged, and he ends up being innocent, doubtful. But to even be categorized as that, or how do you misconstrue something like that?
Pull up the photo again.
Okay. This is what
drives me crazy on that is we're dropping the equipment on the floor.
Mouse.
Yeah, of that. Is that what it was? So you're just trying to destroy the mouse. It's not me.
That's right.
Of that. So. No, but it again, it's profile. It's something that you hear this profiling or racial profiling or profiling. People profile. Everybody profiles.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everybody.
That is your way of.
Yes.
What am I trying to say?
Well, it's a way of protecting yourself, analyzing the situation, knowing what you're dealing with. Not to say that, again,
can anyone argue with that facial expression right there?
That, yeah.
I'm not seeing it in color. I'm just seeing the sadness and the guilt that he's wearing.
And, and it's not a 100% accurate assessment, but we do that. Everybody does. Anybody that doesn't say that
survival techniques, you need to.
You see somebody that again, you see somebody with their drawers down below their rear end, the dreadlocks, the tattoos all up and down the arms, and and the gang colors and all that other stuff. And you look at a guy like me walking up, you're gonna draw two very good.
I think you're way crazier than that guy.
But you're gonna draw way more. You're gonna draw a different conclusion if I'm walking up and somebody like that is walking up.
You think so?
It's profiling. You're gonna do that now.
I think you're gonna get judged in your own way. Everybody puts off an appearance. Everybody puts off a persona.
And the way you talk, exactly. The language you use, how you present yourself.
How you dress.
Yeah, maybe if you're listening to bumpity boom 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 MF this and that and da 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 on the radio, people are gonna look at you. That's profiling. And if you want to live in that culture, that's your right. But it's also my right to judge you on what you're doing and make certain assumptions about what type of person you are.
Right.
If you're
or the type of music you listen to.
Of that all across the board. Because I'm going to tell you, if you look like that, you're in a certain kind of car, you're listening to that kind of music, I'm going to have a different mindset than if I see her pulling up next to me or walking down the street.
To that kind of music, though.
Well, that'll start tilting in that direction, though. But I mean, if you're full on the deal, I'm going to be looking at that situation or I'm going to be watching that car next to me just because of that. Because let's just say this, a part of the profiling thing. If you're going to be a victim of a drive-by shooting, what type of car, what type of people are most likely going to be doing it? And that's called profiling. So again, let's knock off the and they try to put the racist tone on it to try and get you to discourage that or shame yourself into not doing it or doing that. But it's, again, like you said, the first thing, it's a survivability.
Right.
You assess every. If you walk up to a rattlesnake, you don't say, "Oh, nice little rattlesnake, can I pet you?"
Right.
No, you back up. You stay still. You try not to disturb it. But if it attacks you, you're either going to kill it or it's going to bite you and possibly kill you. So again, it's like the same thing. Now, if you approach a person, like if I approach a person like you walking down the street, I'm not going, a big bunch of alarm bells don't start going off.
They should.
Well,
I
that's
don't know why
probably
they don't.
true, but I mean,
Hey, I'm just kidding. Shut up. No, I get your point. And I think that when people pull the profiling thing, to me, and this is just my opinion, that is their guilt and their insecurities hitting them spot on immediately. Because I don't care if anyone profiles me. Profile the hell out of me.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? I feel like that's just people's fear coming out.
Exactly.
I get it in a way if it's like rude and nasty. Maybe you're not that type that somebody thought you were or something like that. But
no, it is.
I don't get why people get so offended by it.
And if you, and it's the same thing. If you go to the hardware store, the grocery store, or whatever, and you start being belligerent or telling them what a bunch of idiots they are, and this is junk or da-da-da, or you walk up there and say, I'm having a problem with this, or did I do something wrong, or it's all in how you, and they're going to profile you. And believe me, I've done it both ways. And I can tell you, at most of the time, you're going to get much more cooperation if you walk up and say, this is a problem I'm having. Maybe I did something wrong, but this is how I did it, yada, yada, yada. And I can guarantee you 98.7% of the time, you're going to get a lot more help. You're going to leave much more satisfied. You're going to resolve the situation than if you start barking and this and that. Right. Because they're going to profile you. If you're up there giving them a ration of blank, they're going to want to get rid of you. How can I get rid of this person and on to the next and, get on with so I don't have to deal with this.
Right.
And that's profiling. You're profiling away, all across the board. But, and the same way, it's kind of like the school discipline, and I've heard that, where we said, you can't kick kids out if they're disruptive, and we want to take the police out of the schools, and, on and on and on and the whole thing. It's just like a crazy, scenario of what, but it's that shaming that everybody out there is like this perfect angel of a human being, and nobody ever did anything wrong. That's why we have a criminal justice system and we take the bad people and we put them away. We lock them in a jail cell and in a fenced area and say, you're not coming out because you're a danger to the rest of us. And across all that, we've got to look at this whole thing coming up. Again, I keep saying it. Let's get down to dealing with stuff as it is, not as we wish it was.
I agree with you completely. But what do you mean? Let's deal with what? But how do you change people's perspective and want of this racism thing that's going around? I don't get why. I get why it's a big deal and the profiling and all of that. I get it, but I feel like the more we talk about it and the more we embed it into our children, especially in the school, elementary age, that it's just prolonging it indefinitely. What would happen if for 1 year nobody brought up racism? If nobody thought that something happened because of the color of their skin or because somebody was looking at them wrong?
I agree.
Would we be happier? Would we live in more of a harmony? I really think we would.
Exactly. And I mean, that's why you have to confront this issue as it is.
But how do you how do you tell somebody I never saw in color with all of this going on. Now I'm even when I go to the store, just today at the store, I'm looking at meat and this guy comes up to me and almost pushes me out of the way and then is getting me. And I was literally right here, and he goes and cuts me off.
1 minute.
Butt was in my pelvic area, so he can get in front of me because I was taking too long. I didn't sit there and be oh, it's because I'm white or because you're African American and you don't like me. But now I'm starting to see that more. The more I go out, the more I'm seeing that. And I think that the more it's talked about, the more we're going to see stuff like that, and we're just going to be at war with each other over nothing.
It is, and that's the danger of letting this whole systemic racism and everything go as it is.
Right.
Because if you don't...
It's so supported. It shouldn't be supported like that.
Exactly.
30
if you
seconds.
don't confront it, if you don't face it head on, if you don't cut it off, it will eventually kill you, and as a society.
Hi, guys.
There you go on that, and it will.
10 seconds.
You're going to kill
on
yourself.
Facebook and YouTube.
IE Newswire Daily is on the air.
The following is a paid program. Views and claims expressed are those of the program producer and are not endorsed by this station. Opinions expressed are not necessarily those of...
The funky slide guitar music that comes on every Monday through Friday at 5:30 on the Mighty Red 1490 KMET, broadcasting all over the Inland Empire, joining our audience, our video audience on Newswire, on Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube. And as Stephanie says, go and hit the like button and subscribe on YouTube, and grow our ever-expanding audience on YouTube on that. I'd like to, I see Brandon, he checked in on YouTube. I don't do the comments like Stephanie does. She's always keeps everybody wound up. After you get used to not doing it, you just kind of get out of that practice of not doing that. But no, it is a Fast Friday on that, coming up on that. Lots of stuff. Obviously, the big news of yesterday was the presidential debate going on of that. And it was very telling. I mean, I said that, and I want, and I did my comments. I did a little bit of commentary on it afterwards. And I want to go back to that because I'm tired. Extremely tired of this zero emissions. We're going to go to zero emissions. Well, ding dong Biden, I think, said 2025. Newsom was 2035. We're going to eliminate the internal combustion engine for sale in California and yada, yada, yada. This is the danger of the dumbing down of education. And as I said last night, if you want to get to zero emissions, that means every living thing that's sitting on the planet Earth will have to be eliminated. Jesse, mic up. When you breathe in oxygen. When you breathe out, what do you breathe out?
Carbon dioxide.
Correct. That is the main greenhouse gas that they said is going to kill us all. So when they say zero emissions or zero CO2 emissions, that means every creature walking the earth right now has to be eliminated. Jesse, mic up again. What do trees breathe in?
Trees breathe in carbon dioxide.
Correct. So when there's no carbon dioxide, there's no green trees. The trees, the dead trees, there will all be dead trees because that we can't get out of our forests that burn down our cities and kill thousands of people every year. This is how stupid Joe Biden thinks you are. Or Gavin Newsom, or Hillary Clinton, or Barack Obama, or Lorena Gonzalez, or Nancy Pelosi, or Chuck E. Schumer, and the whole freaking crew. It's like, same thing, Zero emissions mean there's your little puppy dogs are gone because they breathe out CO2 too. It's crazy of what goes on or what they try to make you believe. It's like the when they were asked about foreign policy last night. And Joe Biden said, we were an ally of Hitler. Joe Biden, at any point, at any time, where is the documentation that the United States of America was supporting Adolf Hitler of Germany? You want to talk about dog whistle, you ding-dong Biden? You're dog whistling right there. You're trying to suggest that the United States and Donald Trump and everybody that looks like you and Donald Trump is a racist. The most racist quote that has been uttered by a presidential candidate in the 2020 election season is by none other than that freaking idiot, that evil person, Joe Biden. If you ain't black, yeah, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. That's telling you, you know who's got the knee on your neck? Joe Biden. That's telling you, you cannot, you will never have the opportunity to be a free person because you got to kiss the ring of Joe Biden to get the crumbs that he decides he's going to let you have. As Mason Weaver said, they are the plantation owners. They are the ones that have to keep you enslaved so they can stay in power. Carlos Lopez was commenting on the deal on that and calling everybody a racist and this and that. Again, tell me in the 2020 you're calling Trump a racist and this and I support black people and blah, 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 blah. Tell me. Show me the statement in the 2020 election season that was more racist than what Joe Biden said. He's saying if you're black, you cannot decide for yourself. You have to vote Joe Biden, or you're disowning your so-called race. Right there, that's racist in of itself. To refer to anyone walking the earth other than a part of the human race is racist. And that's what the term has become. The segregation, the classification, the way you control anyone, first thing is start dehumanizing them. Take your kids, take them out of school for 6 months with no basis in science or data for any reason. Said if they do come back to school, they cannot play in the playground. They're going to have barriers and bars, like the bars and chains and cages Barack Obama and Joe Biden built to house the illegal alien or the kids of the illegal aliens that came into this country. And then you try and blame it on Donald Trump when you and your administration built them. and housed kids in them? What the hell did you build them for if you weren't planning on putting kids in there and you did? It's the whole thing behind the mask. The mask is not to prevent the spread of coronavirus or you to get coronavirus. It's meant to dehumanize you. Jesse, mic up again. Can you tell if somebody's got a frown or a smile or an expression if they're wearing a mask?
No, that's kind of difficult.
There you go. One of the most people read into, if you study human behavior and the way the human being operates, you get much more cues off of people's expression, the way they move, and that is as much or more you take in more of that even subconsciously. You don't know it. You process people the way they are, profiling. How do you know if somebody's wearing a mask, if they got a frown or that, an angry look on their face, yada, yada, yada? Well, you might be able to tell a little bit in their eyes, but if you look at their eyes and their mouth and their expression and the way they're holding themselves, presenting themselves, looking, you make a pretty good judgment of, hey, this person's happy, big smile on their face, sad, big pout with a squint, suspicious looking person, maybe going to snatch your kid. But if you wear a mask, you mandate a mask, that takes that away from you. Think about it. There's a lot more behind the scenes of that, just like the Joe Biden deal. I didn't parse it, release statements through your press, yada, yada, yada. Tony Bobulinski said flat out, you were there. You were the one that got the shares were going to you through Hunter, da-da-da-da. You, Joe Biden, have said categorically Tony Bobulinski is lying. He's full of crap. Until you do, it's all on the table. The evidence, the emails of your coke-sniffing, whore-chasing son that were found allegedly on his computer. Why is he emailing his daughter saying, I'm not going to take 50% like Pop does? Let's do a little fact checking of the deal. One of the things that came up was healthcare and how many people were on that, and Obamacare. But nobody lost their health insurance under Obamacare. Not a single person, was the statement of Joe Biden. Here's on PJ Media, Biden, not a single person on private insurance lost it under Obamacare. Fact checked, false. Not only false, ridiculously false. Goes on in the article to say I'm old enough to remember when President Barack Obama promised if you like your health care plan, you can keep it. I'm also old enough to remember PolitiFact that rated that claim lie of the year in 2013. Yet on Thursday, Democratic nominee Joe Biden, who ostensibly might remember 2013 because he was serving as vice president to Barack Obama, claimed that not a single person lost their health insurance under Obamacare. This is a quote from Joe Biden. Not a single person on private insurance would lose their insurance under my plan, nor they under Obamacare. They did not lose their insurance unless they chose something else, Biden said during the debate. Analysis estimated that at least 4 million Americans lost their health insurance under Obamacare. Yet Joe Biden thought it could repeat the false Obamacare claim that got it branded Lie of the Year in 2014. Let's run the clip here, a little bit of that, and see if she'll rock and roll on the deal.
We're going to make sure we reduce the premiums and reduce drug prices by making sure that there's competition that doesn't exist now by allowing the Medicare to negotiate drug prices with the insurance companies. Thirdly, the idea that I want to eliminate private insurance, the reason why I had such a fight with 20 candidates for the nomination was I support private insurance. That's why not one single person with private insurance would lose their insurance under my plan, nor did they under Obamacare. They did not lose their insurance unless they chose they wanted to go to something else. Lastly, we're going to make sure...
Okay, right there. He said, under my plan now, currently, or the Obamacare plan, which has been proven. Lie of the year in 2013, when they said it, nobody was going to lose their health insurance. And then they said, then he says, under my plan, they're not going to lose their health insurance. Well, they lost 4 million under Obamacare. How many more are going to lose it under your plan? Because your plan sucks. Your plan is not based on free market economics. Free market will deliver you the most health care to the least amount of people. We're going to have to get Dr. Josh Umber back on the show, where he provides a family of 4 unlimited doctor visits, 90% up to 90% discount on drugs, all the time for $120 a month using the free market. We're not even talking about the millions of people who've had to pay more for less coverage under Obamacare, under the Affordable Health Care Act, which is the biggest oxymoron. It has jacked up prices. You have been supporting the drug companies for 47 freaking years, Joe Biden, that have been ripping us off because we created a monopoly in the Food and Drug Administration, and as we've seen with the vaccine, it takes 87 million years to do it, when you can go to Mexico, or you used to, and not even have a prescription, I think up until a year ago, and walk into any pharmacy and buy any drug you wanted. No doctor's prescription, nothing, and at about 80 to 90% less than what you paid in the United States. You want affordable health care? You need to scrap Obamacare now. You need to go back to a free market system, as we talked with Dr. Kelly Victory on Monday. Health insurance is not to cover you from cradle to grave. You should have a relationship with your doctor, paying cash. Health insurance is about, if I have a heart attack or my leg is red from my foot to my knee and about ready to expire on me if I don't get to the hospital, that's what health insurance is for. Health insurance is not for if I've got the flu, or I sprained my wrist, or I just need to go back. That, if you want to get back to, and even today, if you have a cash basis on your doctors, they do it for far, far less than any insurance plan. It's called the free market. as Dr. Kelly said, and I didn't even have to make the analogy, she did. You don't buy insurance to put gas in your car, change the oil, buy new tires, etc. You have auto insurance in case you have a major accident. That's what auto insurance was. They don't cover the car for everything that goes on to it. Forever and ever. For the normal daily expenses that go on, that you have to do to maintain your car. They don't pay your registration tags. If they did in California, we'd have a freaking revolt because of the ridiculous price of tags for your car in California. This whole thing is absolutely ridiculous of what's going on. I mean, you're sitting there, and I mean, it proliferated. Practically every time Joe Biden opened his mouth on the debate, he was lying through his teeth. Here's the deal. As we said, in 11 days, you got a choice. And that's about how Biden looked through the whole debate. He can't even hardly hold his eyes open. He's been 47 years in political office. What in God's green earth thinks you're going to get anything different than what you've gotten the last 47 years of Joe Biden? What you've gotten from Joe Biden is racism. Your knee on your neck. Government control. Taking opportunity away from you. Dismantling and destroying one of the greatest education systems that was ever on the earth in the United States of America. On top of that, in bed with the Chinese government, aiding and abetting them to steal our companies, our universities' intellectual property so they could make cheap stuff and send it back to this and screw the American businesses and institutions and people. They're all people that work their rear end off to develop a product, and then Joe Biden just said, Chinese government, you could steal because you're lining my pockets with tons of cash. We ran the clip of NPR that said, oh, there's nothing, we're not covering the Joe Biden, Hunter Biden email scandal and all that because that's a non-story. There's no cooperation for that. Well, you got Hunter Biden's emails. The FBI, which in my book is very incredible lately with the Comey and all the stuff and the Russia. That was one of the great clips that Trump did when Joe Biden started bringing up the Russia corruption. He says, you're going down that road again, Russia, because it was Joe Biden, Barack Obama, and Hillary Clinton that were in bed with Putin. This stuff is getting more ridiculous every day. That we come up with. This is an opinion piece in the Wall Street Journal. It's a little video they ran on the Biden family legacy. So if you think this is all a bunch of hooey or da-da-da-da-da, let's run the Wall Street Journal on the Biden family legacy.
You need the right pieces in your portfolio.
we got to get to the advertisement on that. Of that with you, the chess pieces are apropos to that. I'm gonna run that because that's a World Council of Government.
These serious allegations of corruption involving Joe Biden have been raised in recent days.
I'm sorry, I'm not answering your questions, okay? We're talking about the coronavirus.
Democrat.
Right there, and it's going to start there, but there was Nancy Pelosi. Ask about, what about the corruption of Joe Biden? Let's get off of that subject and talk about coronavirus. Here we go.
Democrats and their media allies have gone very quiet over a scandal that raises questions about Joe Biden's judgment. A New York Post scoop last week put the spotlight back on Hunter Biden. Newly released emails back up the long-running belief that Hunter was trading off the Biden name to earn income from foreign actors.
Clearly, the origins of this whole smear are from the Kremlin, and the president is only too happy to have Kremlin help in trying to amplify it.
This is not Russian disinformation. That was the narrative they tried to put out there. You know, here's the interesting thing. When they lose an election in 2016, blame it on Russia. When Joe Biden and his family have very, very questionable emails and activities, blame it on Russia. I can tell you that we'll see that it's not just Ukraine, it's not just China where we've sold out, but it's other countries as well in this pay-to-play scheme that Joe Biden needs to answer, but it's time that he comes clean.
Just this week. And there you go. There's in the Wall Street Journal, and it goes on about that. That's all you really need to know. They keep running the lie. Russia, just back and forth, yada, yada, yada. And it was Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden, and Barack Obama that were in bed with Russia, the Ukraine, China, and every other foreign country. They spent trillions of dollars on building other countries and not investing in the United States. Hosing you. Who's got your knee on your neck? Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi, and the whole crime family that's going on. That's it for the Fast Friday. We'll be back on Monday, as we usually do, live at 5 on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube, and the Mighty Met. So until then, see ya!